Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I am back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast, and we have got ourselves what should be a good one here today. It is gonna be a ZVZ, but more importantly, a bot versus bot between two bots that have fantastic control. So it should be the makings of an action-packed game. And yeah, we've got Cannon Anna taking on Evil Zoe. Not just Zoe, but Evil Zoe. Zoe, I know I get a bit of flack for that one, Zoe, whatever. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this match on Site Delta, go ahead, slap that like button if you haven't already. Seeing as how we've got, I don't know, 2 overlords on the map? No, 3 overlords. Let's go for 3 likes on this video. Then leave a comment down below saying more boats. If you want to see more of these bot games, don't write more bots, write more boats. And then consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support this channel. And yeah, let's just see where this game is heading. We've got a very fast third hatchery from EZ. Maybe I'll just call Zoe that in order to avoid the flack. Now, yeah, so very fast third hatchery. Only something you could probably get away with in a bot versus bot match. You're not likely to get away with fast 3 hatch in a ZVZ, because if your opponent 12 pools or anything like that, you're going to be in trouble. Now, Cannon Anna is not doing that. Instead, it's going for a very safe opening. Not a crazy rush or anything like that. An earlier pool, but still getting up the hatchery, not making a ton of lings, anything like that. Zoe's saying I should probably make units right now as it spots those first Zerglings. But, I mean, it doesn't really need to. It's just 2 Zerglings for Cannon Anna. They're just scouting out in a ZVZ. I mean, you do want to explore the map. It's very unlikely there's going to be anything down here, though. Now, Cannon Anna running on in with that Ling, just trying to see what it can see. There's a Spine Crawler on the way for Zoe. So Zoe definitely in a bit of a rush defense mode, which makes sense, seeing as how it went for such a greedy build. We'll see how quickly it eases off the gas here, though, on making the units. It's obviously reacting to the fact that there's a couple early Zerglings for Cannon Anna, but what else is on the way? That's the question. Really nothing. So Zoe can go right back into macro. And hopefully it does that sooner rather than later. Instead, it's just making a lot of lings for the defense. At some point, it's got to go, maybe I didn't need that Spine Crawler and I can cancel that. Of course, programming that into a bot is very difficult, but here we see, yeah, a big overreaction here by Evil Zoe. This Queen working away on this Overlord. Now it's making a couple of drones, but it's still making lings behind this, so really, really big reaction by Evil Zoe. We'll see if it goes for some aggression off the back of this, but seeing as how it doesn't have Ling speed, it's not likely. I think this is purely just over defense from Evil Zoe. Now saying Zergling Squad 1 starting attack on natural, so it is going to get aggressive with all of these Zerglings. I like how it also said Squad 1 here, showing us how it groups up its units. Probably going to assign a second squad at some point. We've got Cannon Anna, though, making roaches. It's already got out a good number of its own lings. It's actually 38 to 28, so very close. With the 5 roaches popping on out, I'm not worried at all. We see Zoe now saying, all right, attacking with the second squad, but yeah, a beautiful choke point here for Cannon Anna. The lings of Evil Zoe just get gobbled on up. And so far, it looks like Cannon Anna is the bot that's having better success in this ZVZ with its more passive strategy. We saw a very strong economic opening from Evil Zoe, but then it kind of overreacted a little bit and has made a couple of folly attacks, and it actually could be in quite a bit of trouble now, as it just lost the vast majority of its lings, getting absolutely nothing done as those lings were trying to get into the main. And it's good that they bypass units, but maybe not that many units that are completely surrounding them. We've got Cannon Anna scouting out constantly. It does see the lair of Evil Zoe, and it's got its own lair on the way, so a little bit of tech en route for both of these bots potentially down the line. Cannon Anna is in a much better army position. Evil Zoe, though, is now pulling ahead in the workers off the back of those 3 hatcheries it got early on. It is now droning properly. Cananana droning, definitely behind in that regard a little bit. If Cananana attacked right now, could Evil Zoe hold on? I want to say no, but of course, programming a bot to capitalize on situations like that is incredibly difficult. Cananana getting up Tunneling Claws. It's already got Burrow on its roaches, so those will be hard to kill. And interestingly enough, Cananana actually going for Tunneling Claws before it gets roach speed, whereas Evil Zoe is going for that glial reconstitution, or roach speed as it's usually called, instead of that mouthful. Now, Evil Zoe still ahead in the workers by a good amount, so that army count is gonna, in theory, equalize a little bit. That Spine Crawler just snuffs out that Zergling. Those early Spine Crawlers, of course, it's not great that Evil Zoe invested in them early on, and it didn't really need them. But, I mean, they at least hang around, unlike other investments. So now we've got a 4th base on the way for Evil Zoe. Scouting going out all over the place for Cananana, as it's got Overlords and Overseers, and they're clearly gassed up with that speed. And yeah, lots of gas on the way for Cananana. Both these bots powering up. Evil Zoe clearly the more risky bot, going for attacks, going for much heavier eco play, and it's actually moving out again, which is honestly just insane, seeing as how it's down in army supply by a huge amount. It didn't actually say that it was planning an attack, it just did it this time. Now Evil Zoe gonna get pushed back, saw, I guess, suppose all of Cananana's units and said nope. So at least it had the wherewithal to retreat. 5th base is going up for Evil Zoe as well. There's no 4th yet for Cananana, so the macro tendencies of Evil Zoe is ridiculous at this point, and the longer it goes on, the more worried I'm going to be for Cananana. We got a Lurker Den on the way for the red Zerg, so going to potentially be getting those out. Lurkers incredibly difficult to deal with for human players and bots alike. It's actually been a while since I've cast a good old ZVZ with 2 high-level bots, I feel. These games, they really tend to go the distance, and that's what we're seeing right now. A fair bit of passiveness, not that Evil Zoe hasn't been trying to attack, but Cananana really has just been macroing up. It does have a 4th base on the way now. It's still behind 22 workers or so very significant economic deficit there, and we'll have to see some magic from Cananana if it's gonna be able to overcome this economic deficit. Like, it's fine to be behind for a little bit as long as you got something coming your way. Cananana, I'm not seeing a lot coming its way. I mean, it's getting lots of upgrades, but so is Evil Zoe. It's getting an infestation pit, but it's like it doesn't have lurkers on the way. It's got a good number of roaches to its name at least, so maybe there's some potential there. We are about to see army supply even up, and it has evened up as Evil Zoe reaches maxed out first with a lot more workers. That means it'll be able to trade out a lot more. We're seeing Evil Zoe planning on attacking all over the place, letting itself know that it has indeed seen some burrowed units. Ling's trying to poke and prod for Evil Zoe. And the main army now attacking on in towards that 3rd base of Cananana. Cananana's going to have to muster the defense here, relying mainly on roaches against Roach Ravager. Okay, Cananana gets bullied off its 3rd base. The drones are burrowed and hiding, but there's Overseers, so I'm afraid they won't last too long. And all of a sudden, Evil Zoe is just getting a nice victory here. Roaches and Ravagers engaging each other. I mean, the Roaches can take on the Ravagers when they get the actual connections, and they are doing that, so the trade isn't going too bad for Cananana. Resources lost-wise, however, it has lost a base, and I mean, yeah, it lost a base. It's on a much worse economy, so Evil Zoe is already replacing those units that it lost. We've got Lings going for an attack simultaneously, getting some harassment on the already weak economy of Cananana. Ling's trying to make it on into that main base. They're all very softened up. There's some roaches here to deal with them. Cananana is dealing with that, but it was knocked down to 4 bases against what is a 6-base opponent. Cananana isn't dead yet. It's not dead by any means, but it's going to have to take some real good trades the longer this game goes on. It's got the Broach Burrowed tendency, which seems really strong. Maybe that's all it's going to need in order to overcome what the Red Zerg's got, but what the Red Zerg's got right now is 2 Lurkers. That's going to be problematic. We've got a boatload of Zerglings for Evil Zoe. It's actually just 100 Lings in this composition, which is ridiculous, seeing as how Roaches or Lings really aren't that good against Roaches at this stage in the game. So you gotta love to see that Evil Zoe's trying it. Cananana, though, does defend. Its unit positioning is pretty darn good. Lings are trying to run circles around it, but it seems to always have Roaches where it needs them. Evil Zoe's behavior as well is incredible, saying, nope, I can't actually attack in there, so I'm going to try and go around. Lings are running all over the place. Cananana holds on, though. Even transfusing that hatchery, you gotta love to see that. It's trying to reestablish this base. We got a highly mobile comp for Evil Zoe, so Cananana is once again going to have to respond to all these Zerglings. And it's going to have to do it quick as they are on this hatchery, so potentially another base going to go down for the Blue Zerg. The trades definitely are going the Blue Zerg's favor, seeing as how these Roaches aren't really dying for it. It's only lost 7 Roaches versus killing 250 Zerglings this game. So all of a sudden we really see why Evil Zoe needs the superior economy. Cananana's maxed out with the better army, though. Can it make something happen? Potentially. It's looking to get aggressive here. Evil Zoe, once again, talking about Zergling attacks. It's going to keep trying to do that. At some point, though, it will have to deal with the main army, unless it just continuously counterattacks. But Cananana's defense has been pretty good. It even got a spine crawler at some point. I didn't quite notice that. It's actually getting another one. I really love to see that. I'm always a big fan of the static defense. It's almost always worth it. Ling's trying to run circles around Cananana once more. This has taken the heat off Evil Zoe, so no counterattack really arose. There's, by gosh, so many Zerglings for Evil Zoe. These bot games, they never fail to disappoint. We're always seeing something crazy. That hatchery gets canceled. Lings are attacking into the Roaches, though. They will not have success there. They've only got +1 melee attack. Adrenal Glands is on the way. We're also seeing Cananana at some point got up a Greater Spire and is heading to Broodlords. So Evil Zoe's mass Zergling strategy is eventually going to have to change, I feel. There's also a random hatchery for Evil Zoe out on the map. It's going to kind of act as a wall as Cananana is now getting aggressive. Of course, there's a Ling counterattack being attempted while this is going on. The main attack here, though, for the Blue Zerg is really what we need to focus on. Those Lurkers are also being dealt with incredibly effectively by Cananana. They haven't really done anything, and they're supposed to be the value getters for Evil Zoe, and it's just not appearing. So Cananana pushing forward now, kills off that one hatchery, killing off some eggs. No mining going on at this phase here, and the Roaches, they can just burrow and get away. There's not really many Overseers in position for Evil Zoe, and we actually only see 2 on the map, and they're definitely not in position. There's no Overlord speed, and when you're dealing against a Roach burrowed bot, you need to have that speed. These Roaches, they're all getting away. The Lings, like, they try and surround them, but then the Roach just hops into the ground. So Cananana's strategy, while it seems to have had its weak moments, it's really doing it well. Weak moments, though, it is really far behind on the economy now. 38 workers to 96, so it's going to need to keep getting that insane cost efficiency. It's doing a good job of it. We're currently at 20,000 resources lost to 7,300, which in a mirror matchup really shows how beautiful of a game StarCraft 2 is, that there can be so much variety. Even in an identical matchup, these Lings are being cornered, they're being killed, they're trying to make it on out of there. Take a guess how many Lings have died this game. I'm going to say 547. 545! Oh my gosh, that was actually so close. Okay, now, wait, have we hit 547? No, not quite. Now, Let's see. Yeah, Ling's being chased around in circles, getting killed off there. Evil Zoe once again trying to attack around. Spinecrawler stands for a little bit, but then does get taken care of. Cananan is coming on in. Broodlord shooting all over the place. Roach gonna be harassing a little bit. Drones do burrow for Evil Zoe, so it's not like it's not taking care of its units. It's just playing a much more aggressive style, which it doesn't really care if it throws away some Zerglings diving into the main base. And it's actually reaching potentially a tipping point here, as Cananana is knocked down to 28 workers. It's replacing its workers lost with just units, so eating up that supply. And so it's got a much, much better army here. It just needs to actually attack and get something done. A little bit of harassment's going on with the odd roach here and there, and attacks happening on the front. This is just a fraction of Cananana's army, though, as the rest of the roaches are kind of just dilly-dallying around. Not a lot of units going down. We see Evil Zoe saying, got 2 worker kills. It's like, oh, that's not much, but when your opponent's only on 29 workers, that actually is kind of a big deal. We see Cananana now attacking on in with its larger portion of the army, and nothing really here for Evil Zoe can stand against this, so we're just going to have to wait and see if Evil Zoe can pull back Cananana with a counterattack. But Evil Zoe now loses the base. There's another Broodlord being made, so I mean there's 5 Broodlords out all over the place, completely uncontested. If they just A-move towards the main base, well, maybe not A-move, right-click towards the main base, otherwise they'd end up chasing some Zerglings around the entire map. What an incredible ZVZ this is, though, between these 2 bots. Evil Zoe losing bases, losing mining at this point, is potentially going to start running out of road here. It's got an impressive bank, so it could make like another, I don't know, 1,600 Zerglings or something. It's got to start getting better trades at some point, however. And we're not seeing that, as Cananana was able to weather the storm, it looks like. And the game is really starting to go its way. How many roaches have died this game? 12. We've only seen like 5 roaches die in the past 10 minutes or so. So the attacks for Evil Zoe, like, you can harass all day long, but eventually you do got to start getting some army kills. Evil Zoe saying, yeah, sending out more and more Zergling squads. It's now just fallen in supply, though. It seems to have run out of larvae, probably, so it can't make too many more Zerglings. It's making more lurkers. They haven't even really got the kills they need, because Cananana's efficiency with dealing with the lurkers has been pretty good. Roaches don't actually die that fast to individual lurkers. So yeah, this is really looking like Cananana has weathered the storm and turned it around. Evil Zoe's got great redundancy, trying to expand, double expanding, two hatcheries at 1 base. Yeah, the mining has fallen off, though. We saw how quickly it burnt through all of those resources lost. I'm wondering how many Zerglings have died at this point in the game. Start writing out your comments to let me know how many Lings you think will have died at the end of this game. I will make my guess before the end. Okay, the roaches getting on in. That Spinecrawler that lives so long does perish. We see all these roaches on yellow HP. That's just how good Cananana is with its roach micro. As soon as they get injured, they pull back till they're almost at full HP, then they get back into the fight. That's probably what the bot author has deemed the most efficient off their testing. And yeah, Evil Zoe harassed until Cananana got knocked down to 22 workers. But in the end, it just left Cananana with a massive army and nothing for Evil Zoe to deal with it. So yeah, that is going to be that. Ladies and gentlemen, hit that like button if you enjoyed this one. I just click on these replays at random, and you never know what you're going to get. We're seeing that the level of these bot games is really fun to watch most of the time, though. So leave a comment, join the Discord, which is linked down below. Subscribe if you aren't. Hit that bell icon to get notified whenever I put up a new video. We're on the drive to 10,000 subscribers. And yeah. Evil Zoe once again trying to harass with the few Lings it's got left. Says, all right, if I can just get out there and attack, I can create an opening. And these sixlings have got a lot of weight on their shoulders. There's one hatchery left. That's going to go down. Evil Zoe is going to meet its end at the Broodlords that it never really created an answer to. And yeah, this kind of is just the dilemma of creating a bot that wins most of its games versus creating a bot that can win any game. There's just some compositions and strategies that a bot that only primarily makes Zerglings will not work against, such as a bot that eventually makes Broodlords, if it can get there. So, mad props to Cananana for actually surviving all that shenanigans. It was dealing with those Zergling attacks incredibly well. What a great game, though. We're going to check how many Lings have died. Place your bets. I want to say that, like, not too many died after I last checked, so I'm going to say 712. 928. Okay, I was way more off that time than my first guess. Just goes to show how the action never stops in these games. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning in.